Sit with your doubts long enough to discover the treasures that they cover. Try to be patient with yourself when concerns and fears arise and are present. Try not to lean into action upon the motivation of judgment. Patience, listening, intimacy, and attentiveness can be the nourishment to the doubts which naturally arise, which can thus open the doorway to treasures and opportunities and growth and expression that lie dormant within doubts and fears and concerns. For doubts, fears, and concerns are normal and natural emotional responses as we navigate between boundaries and defense and expression and growth, and to keep the harmony between two. And in this harmony there are naturally concerns and doubts and fears, and there can be utility in those, but there can also be a stifling to one's potentiality and to the treasures we behold within ourselves. And so to truly understand the value within our doubts, concerns and fears is to be patient, to be attentive, to listen, and to thus be intimate with. And in this way we are in relation with ourselves through our doubts, concerns and fears. They are no longer others or separate entities that we label and judge, to fix or to resist or to act upon, but something within us which is a voice of a part of us, an expression of a part of us. And when we express ourselves to ourselves in the present moment through concerns, fears, or doubts, it is only by listening and being intimate and thus in relationship with that we understand the value of this, of these communications, of these inner expressions. And so a lot of the time we can actually, within our doubts, possess treasure, possess opportunity, possess growth, and a doorway into a part of ourselves that is ready to flourish and to bloom and to grow and to express itself beyond the preliminary stage of of doubt, of concern, and of fear. And so we come to know the duality of these communications, which can serve us well in being protected, in creating boundaries and preserving ourselves, but also understand that the other part of that duality, which is it can also be communication of a part of us which is which is sensitive and slight and gentle, and dormant, that is previously been clouded by judgment or resistance, but thus is ready to emerge and to grow in the light of one's attention and listening and presence of and relationship with. So we come to understand our doubts, our fears and our concerns as fruitful for the boundaries that we set upon its fertile wisdom, and also the sensitivities that it possesses that enable us to transform beyond the meagre judgments we are attached to, and can thus grow from beyond expectations held, defended and projected, and thus acted upon. And so we are called to understand that the growth and the potential that we behold and we yearn to grow into is born of these sensitivities, these doubts, these concerns, these fears and worries, which can sometimes be about creating boundaries and preserving oneself, but can also, if in relationship with, can also yield opportunities to branch out beyond protection alone, preservation alone, boundaries alone. Maybe what was once in need of preservation or protection no longer needs it. We are always evolving, growing, and reevaluating ourselves and what is and isn't possible for us in this moment. And maybe yesterday, last week, last year, there were things or aspects or parts of us or expressions within that required preservation, a slightness. But in this moment, maybe those same fears, doubts and concerns through relationship, through connection, through listening and presence, we learn calls for more than just protection and preservation, and indeed yearns for growth through watering of the opportunity and the treasure within the doubts which emerge and the concerns and the fears. So we are thus total and whole in ourselves, in our natural doubts that emerge when we both allow ourselves to create boundaries with them, but also and also in other moments allow ourselves to blossom from those very doubts, to not fix them, to not solve them, but to understand that through them, in relationship with them, we can grow beyond them, but not away or disconnected from, but like a seed from and above. And although a mighty oak can grow tall, it still has its roots. It still comes from the same seed. And so we still are in relationship, intimate, trusting and listening and attentive to our doubts, fears and concerns, even as we blossom and as we grow and as we water the treasure within those concerns, understanding the duality between the growth and the expression, but also the doubt, the fertile doubts and concerns that still are present with us and serve us ultimately if we but relate to them and are in communion with them through the understanding that they are not separate or judged into submission or rejection, but to integrate them with us, to understand that they have fruitfulness and wisdom and a treasure within them. So that is the invitation I would leave you with, is to go and come into communion with the wisdom and the invitation and the blossoming and the treasure within your doubts and concerns and fears, and to understand that doubts, concerns and fears can start off with protection and preserving and a personal relationship, but can also are never reduced entirely to that, and that sometimes call for further growth, blossoming and transformation. Until next time, goodbye.